Hi, my name is Gianni Brown, lead audio engineer for NoSpace Productions, a music and events production firm based out of Philly. You can find us on all socials at NoSpaceProd, NOSPACEPROD. I'm going to be taking you through the recording and mixdown process of Rubber's Tangerine Sessions, live music video series recorded live on location. When you try to record anything, problems tend to arise, and due to the fact that I wasn't there to assist the team on the day of the shoot, there were even more problems that arose during production. Let's start with the recording. The microphone being used on Andrew's vocals is the Shure Super 55. This microphone is a supercardioid dynamic microphone. That means that it's not going to be as sensitive as, say, a condenser. It has a tight directional pattern, so it's not going to pick up too much ambience or too much bleed from other instruments. But because it's a dynamic, it doesn't have as accurate transient response, so there's going to be a lack of detail and air in Andrew's vocals. The microphone being used on John's guitar is the Shure SM57. This one is a cardioid dynamic microphone. It doesn't have the most accurate transient response, so you're not going to hear as much detail when it comes to something like the sound of his fingers moving across the strings. You're not going to hear as much air. Depending on how closely it's placed to the body of the guitar, you're going to get some added bass from proximity effect. Let's get into some of the problems that arose during the mixdown process. The first thing that was very apparent was how quiet the recording was. The quick solution to this was to take advantage of the great dynamic range offered by 24-bit recording to clip gain the two tracks to a decent level. The next problem with this recording was a high noise floor. When you record with microphones that aren't as sensitive, normally you have to crank up your preamp gain. Depending on the quality of your preamps, like in this case, it was just a basic audio interface, the preamps had a lot of inherent noise. By running the preamps at the top of their gain range, there was a lot of hiss and just garbage that I had to expand out. First, I rendered both of the tracks through Isotope RX's denoise plugin, set using the adaptive noise reduction mode. On both of the tracks, I also used the Wave C4 multiband processor to expand some of the remaining noise out of the high end of the tracks. Another common problem with recording musicians outside, or even just recording musicians in the same room, is bleed. However, due to the microphone selection for this session, I didn't have to worry too much about bleed between Andrew and John's microphones. The SM57, having a cardioid polar pattern, rejects sound behind it while being most sensitive to sounds directly in front of it. The Super 55 has a supercardioid polar pattern, meaning that its pickup angle is a little tighter, with the trade-off being a small lobe of sensitivity directly behind the microphone. Alright, so let's take a more in-depth look at this chain for the acoustic guitar. First, I used the GoodHertz tilt shift to shift the frequency balance of the track and filter out low end around 86 Hz. I followed that up with a Wave C4 to expand out some of the noise and compress some of the body resonances from 100 to 400 Hz. I also did some additional corrective EQ with the Avid 7-band EQ, notching out some resonances around 175 Hz, around 500, and also a light shelf under 500 Hz. Finally, using Wave's Vitamin, I used the mid-band to excite content between 500 to about 3K to bring out some bite, a little bit more detail. Looking back at this session, there are a few things I would have done differently if I were on the set that day. I would have advocated to have a stereo array in addition to the close microphones to capture some sounds of the environment. They're outside, it's a beautiful set. I would have wanted to hear some leaves rustling, birds chirping, that sort of thing. Additionally, I would have tried to put a small diaphragm condenser like the SM81 or a Sennheiser E614 on the acoustic, placed around the 12th fret, facing where the neck joins the body. The rationale behind this placement is that I know that John does not use a pick. Because he uses a fingerstyle technique, this yields a smoother sound with less attack. In order to capture a more balanced representation of what he was playing that day, I would have to counteract the proximity effect of the microphone that I would have been using by placing it farther away from the body and closer to the neck to pick up the air around the strings and more of the nuances of his playing. Thanks for listening. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow NoSpace Productions on all our socials at NoSpace Prod. That's spelled NOSPACEPROD. If you have any questions about what I covered today, bring them up in the comments or shoot us an email via the contact form on our website. Once again, I'm Gianni Brown, the lead audio engineer for NoSpace Productions. See you again soon.